Recording in progress.
All right, good evening, everyone. It is now 7 o'clock. I call to order our council meeting for Monday, March 16th, 2026. For all of you that are able to, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, city council members, turn your mics on. These are directional, so if you could put them so they go towards your mouth, that would be great. Silence your cell phones. Ms. Hogan.
Councilmember Burke.
Aye, present.
Councilmember Dowdy.
Here.
Councilmember Houston.
Here.
Councilmember Friend.
Here.
Councilmember Michelson.
Here.
Councilmember Frymark and DeLuz have both canceled this evening.
Make a motion to excuse Councilmember Frymark and Councilmember DeLuz.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Ms. Hogan.
Councilmember Burke.
Yeah. Here. Here.
It's a yes or a
It's
no?
Yes.
Councilmember Dowdy.
Yes.
Councilmember Houston.
Yeah. Yes.
Councilmember Friend.
Aye.
Councilmember Michelson.
Aye.
All right, moving to the agenda. First item is Planners Day's presentation. And we have our past, and we have two princesses. Come on up.
Hi, I'm Miss Woodland. My name is Taylor Thomas. I'm a current senior at Woodland High School, and I'm a Writing Start student at Clark College. At the high school, I'm involved in NHS. I play volleyball, and I'm a part of W Club. After high school, I plan to attend Arizona State University, where I'm at Barrett the Honors College, and I'll study cosmetology. In my free time, I work at the corner store, actually, and I like to bake, I like to play volleyball, and I like to study cosmetics. Thank you, guys. Hi, my name is Princess Keely. I'm the daughter of Nick and Patricia Schmidt. I go to the Woodland High School, and I'm involved in SCA, and I also do volleyball in school, and I do club. I also do track, which, sorry, I didn't do volleyball, sadly. So, and then after school, I'd like to go to college, and I would like to study botany and a business degree so that I can own my own small business. And in my free time, I like to play volleyball.
Hi everyone, I'm Princess Maya, daughter of Brian and Tanya Taylor. I'm currently a junior at Woodland High School, and I also participate in Running Start through Clark College. I do wrestling in my free time, and like wrestling in high school, and then club as well. And after high school, I plan on attending the University of Washington, and opening a business as a event planner.
So, I'll do the sales pitch for y'all. Anyone have money? Let's order up some raffle tickets for the group. Where do you want me to go, on the end?
Anywhere.
Come on, cuz. Congratulations. They will be around town for the next couple months. Everyone support our local community. All right, next up is Kittelson's on exit 21. Come on up, gentlemen. Just for everyone's sake, quarterly we ask them to come, give us an update. We do have an agenda item with a little bit of change, but this here is fully related to exit 21 is what we're going to discuss tonight.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council members, community. We definitely appreciate the opportunity to be able to provide an update on Exit 21. I think the last time that we're here was actually probably many months ago, and happy to report that we've made a lot of great progress, and the coordination with WashDOT and our teaming partners are going really well. We have a short presentation for you. Just to introduce myself again, I'm Anthony Yee with Kittelson and Associates, serving as the overall project manager, and I have here Caleb Cox, who's leading all of the design plans for us and really the design process. So, next slide, please. Presentation overview, wanted to provide an update on just general current activities, get everybody up to speed. Definitely want to cover the work plan and the anticipated schedule. Also wanted to talk a little bit about Exit 22 and opportunities to be able to put a little bit more emphasis on there, knowing that I think the city has seen some challenges at that interchange as well, and capitalizing on the work that we're doing on the southern interchange to be able to do some work to the north. Covered that a little bit more as well. Next slide, please. So on current updates, I'd say over the last several months now, we've really reached some really major milestones that has really helped this project move forward at a pretty rapid pace. The first one, and this one may be the previous update, that we were just finishing up the WashDOT intersection control evaluation. That was a really big milestone because it set what the project actually looks like, and it gets really the buy-off from the Washington State Department of Transportation on the actual interchange form and the intersection forms. In addition to that, the really next phase went into the design component. Caleb's going to talk a little bit more about that, but that's where the roundabout peer review came in. So working with WashDOT and our teaming partners, that process really helped set a lot of the geometry, what the roundabouts, what the curbs, what the pedestrian pathways, the bike lanes, and things like that. That really solidified the overall footprint for the project. Next slide, please. I'm going to turn it over to Caleb because since the last time we were here, we've actually advanced the design pretty far. Caleb will talk through some of the key design elements as we move forward more into actual final design.
All right, thank you, Anthony. Good evening, council members. Yeah, like Anthony mentioned, we're currently in the kind of preliminary design phase for this project. WashDOT's process that we're in is called the design approval process. And a big part of that is these preliminary plans for approval that we've been working through. So the intent with this design approval phase is to finalize the footprint of the project, make sure we have a good understanding of the property impacts and the locations of the roundabouts that we're looking at and the pedestrian facilities and everything like that. The first round of these plans for approval were submitted to WashDOT in November of 2025. Since then, WashDOT spent some time reviewing and provided some comments back to us, and we've had a little bit of back and forth with the agency. We just recently got a final round of comments from WashDOT a couple of weeks ago, and are working through some last couple updates to get that submitted and finalized. The good news with that is the comments that we've gotten recently from WashDOT really don't change any of the footprint assumptions that we've made at this point. So we're feeling pretty good about where the overall design footprint and project design is at. Next slide, please.
On that, can you walk us through what are some of the bigger questions, items that came back from WashDOT?
Yeah, I think a big piece of what WashDOT has been talking through with us is some of the pedestrian circulation elements, understanding where we might close a crosswalk here in order to prioritize crosswalks in other locations, how we're tying in pedestrian facilities and sidewalks to the existing facilities within the city, and just making sure that it's all kind of designed in a way that's consistent with kind of how WashDOT views this interchange area.
Yeah. So just to get us up to speed, because we do have some new council members and things, if you take us back here, we're looking at two different alternatives. WashDOT is one of the big proponents for the roundabouts. Our funding is going to have to come from state level. We need to partner with WashDOT. So when you said that, there's been a little bit of dialogue, I was just checking the temperature here and saying, well, wait, are they having issues with the way we've done a roundabout? So they're still on board with that. They like the drawings. They like the preliminary work. It was around pedestrians. Okay.
Yeah, still very much on board with the roundabouts. We've got buy-off from WashDOT staff on that. And at this point, we're focused on kind of more of the periphery design details.
Perfect. Thank you.
So I'll slide through these pretty quickly, but this is just an example to give you a sense of kind of the level of detail that this design has been advanced to. Previous concepts that you've seen have been very colorful and conceptual. At this point, we're getting into more of the detailed engineering. You can scroll through slides 6 through 8 there just real quickly. You can see each one of the roundabouts and the designs. And it's just kind of giving WashDOT the ability to review the geometry of the project.
So another question for you. because I might be jumping
Yeah.
ahead here a little bit, that we had $2.6 million for this. We'll get into $600,000. It's going to be shifted a little bit here, Anthony.
Yep.
And I'm looking over there at my buddy Riley. And so I see these drawings here. Are we still getting the design work that we were expecting and wanting to originally when we started this back in 2023, 24?
Yeah, absolutely. And Caleb's kind of just touching upon some of these things, but yeah, in addition to all the geometry, we are advancing a lot of the designs. The designs that you're seeing on the screen right now is the physical aspects. You're seeing the striping, but we're getting down to the nitty-gritties also of sign placements. Many of the community members around here may have experienced over the last probably month or two, a lot of people out there doing drilling exercises, soil sampling. So all of that engineering is being built into the plans at this point. We are definitely on schedule, and I'll talk through the schedule. There's probably I think the third to the last slide that talks a little bit more about the schedule.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
So I know that existing roundabouts that we've had in town, people have made comments about, oh, it's still difficult for trucks, it's still difficult for these kind of things. The one on Buckeye and Lakeshore, I know a lot of traffic doesn't go downtown, but they still take Lakeshore, but we also have, that is a big bus intersection as well. Like, is that really making sure that this time they're done so that everybody's not just driving through them?
Yeah, that is a fantastic question. And maybe stepping back just also a little bit, when we first were working with the city and the community, this was actually a couple of years ago, as the mayor had mentioned, we looked at both roundabout concepts as well as signalized concepts.
Right, absolutely.
We had quite a number of meetings with different types of stakeholders, including trucking industries, looking at different type of circulations with even school buses, tractor trailers, pickup trucks that are attached to trailers, but really also the really big rigs that actually go through the city, all throughout the city. So as we further advanced each design phase, we actually looked at those vehicles again, and what we do is we run computer simulated vehicles. So whether it's truck vehicles or school buses or there's really a plethora of different design vehicles. We test all those through. And as Caleb was mentioning before, these are plan sets that we've submitted to WashDOT. As part of those plan sets, we actually have to demonstrate those design vehicles. So there's a lot not shown here, but we have quite a number of other plan sheets that actually show how these vehicles are going through the roundabouts. We actually have to demonstrate the speeds that they're going through there, the angles, the sight distance. These are all things that WashDOT requires us to do, to document, and that's why this is an exciting but critical point in the project, because we have to meet all of these design checks to even get as far as we got there. So we're happy to say we got there. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, because that's a busy intersection, much like the one by Walmart and
Absolutely. Yep.
where it gets really congested at certain times of the day. So
Yep. Yeah. Fantastic question.
All right, we can go ahead and scroll one more slide there. So this, just the last piece, another element. So what you saw before was kind of the top-down view of the plan. We also provide what we call typical sections for the roadway, just helping define lane widths, median widths, sidewalk widths, all of those types of things. That's another element of these plans for approval. Next slide, please. So what's next? We are, like I mentioned, kind of in the final stages of this WashDOT design approval phase. And our next step is to get into what we would call more of a 60% engineering design. So that's going to involve a lot of different disciplines and design details, all of what you see on the screen here, and just kind of further refining the design, getting the individual roadway plans, the grading plans, the illumination plans. And what this is going to help us with is getting to a kind of a plan set that has a better definition of our quantities and our costs. And it's just kind of the next phase in the approval process with WashDOT. Next slide, please. So as part of that, we're working through some more detailed structural design related to a sidewalk multi-use path. A big goal of this project is to provide connectivity throughout the city and across I-5 in the east-west direction. So part of that is including wide 10-foot multi-use paths on both sides of the road going under the I-5 overpass to Another goal of the project has been to not impact the I-5 overpass because any modifications to that would be really costly. So in order to widen the road to add the sidewalks, we're proposing to put the sidewalk behind the bridge piers, and that's gonna require some structural retaining walls. So that's a process that we're working through right now. We have a structural engineer on our team that's doing that analysis, and we're working with WashDOT's structural folks to make sure that we're gonna end up with a product that's acceptable to them and that will have no impacts on the existing bridge. Next slide, please. Another design detail that we've been working through is the geotechnical evaluations and stormwater. So some of you around town may have seen in recent months some large drilling rigs out in this area taking samples. So those people out there in the machinery were coring down into the ground to take samples of the soil, and they're working on some analysis right now that's going to help inform both the structural design, the pavement design, and also the stormwater design elements for this project. You can see in this map, it's a little small over there, but there's some areas, kind of circular or oblong shaped areas with like black dots in several areas. Those are going to be stormwater treatment facilities. That's very preliminary locations there on that map at this point, but the project will use these stormwater treatment facilities to infiltrate the water running off the road and treat it before it reaches either the groundwater or the Lewis River. So all of this is kind of the technical details that are going into this design. And with that, I will pass it back to Anthony.
All right, thanks, Caleb. Talk through the roadway as well as the structural component. Environmental is also, I'll call it, the other big element that the design team's moving forward with. So under the environmental elements, which are called NEPA, these are all of the other activities. They're actually happening right now. Although the wetlands determination is pretty much complete, so we'll be reporting on that soon to the city as well as some of the findings. But everything from air quality to sensitive areas, hazardous materials, cultural resources, and then eventually the project will include an evaluation of this biological assessment that I'll go into in the next slide or a future slide. But these are a lot of the activities on the environmental side. You may have also seen other folks, other individuals wearing vests out there, shovel probes and other things like that. There's just been a lot of activity within the interchange area over the last couple of months. Next slide, please. Work plan. So this slide is actually pretty similar to the last couple of updates. It hasn't changed, and we're glad it hasn't changed, because if it did change, then we wouldn't be on schedule. So this actually hasn't changed. We updated it because we're sitting in the month of March right now, but between March and through the end of this year, there's a long list of things that this project team has to do. Those are a lot of things that are underway and that we just covered right now. The plan still right now, and this hasn't changed since the last year or so, is this calendar year we will submit that biological assessment that we've spoken about. And just to kind of get others up to speed on what we mean by this biological assessment is, as we look at this area, it's not just this project, but it's really any project throughout the state of Washington. Any projects, especially transportation projects that involve the roadway, and really there's chemicals that come off of tires, and those chemicals that come off of the tires are actually a pollutant that's pretty harmful that goes into the rivers and streams and things like that. There's a state requirement that you need to perform a biological assessment. Well, the plan right now has always been to do that biological assessment. So we've scoped it. We're in coordination with WashDOT and the other agencies that'll review it, including NIMS. What we have talked about for quite a while now, though, is that the consultant team is on track to perform the biological assessment. We are still being told that when we submit this biological assessment, it could take up to 2 to 3 years for NIMS to complete their review. And so that time frame still hasn't changed from what we're hearing in terms of our contacts, both at the state and the federal level. So as I mentioned before, this schedule is the same one that we've provided over the last 2 or 3 updates. I wish we had better news to share, and maybe within a month or 2, or maybe throughout the life cycle of this calendar year, maybe something changes. But barring that, we will submit the biological assessment as scheduled. But that highlight there, I just wanted to point it out again. It is estimated a 2 to 3 year review process. Because of that, we will advance the project up to a 90% design level, and then really the project's on hold until we get the results of that biological assessment, and then until that time, hopefully re-engage with the community and the city to be able to finish off the project, final plan specs and estimates, and then hopefully start construction late in 2029, 2030.
Just to level set again, when we get to 2028 and we are finishing these studies, that funding will come out of our general fund here. We are required to use our dollars from Cowlitz County, the grant that they gave us, by the end of 2026. So anything that can't be done, and again, no hard feelings with you, no hard feelings with, you know, the city. It's the environmental piece from Olympia that's pushing this and making us delay. I just want people to be aware, so as we do our budget at the end of this year, when we come in October, November timeframe, we will have to have funding out of our general fund to pay for these things.
So next slide, please. This provides a bit more of a snapshot and this is the question that I also had is that, you know, we're gonna be able to take the project as far as we can at this end of the calendar year. There's certain scope items that the project will not complete because of the biological assessment. We wanted to make sure and work with the community to be able to kind of identify, well, where can we put those funds toward to keep it within the community? And so there's a lot of detailed information here, but the big, I think, point that I'd love for everyone to take away on this one is that the plan right now is to take those additional funds that were going to be used on certain scope elements and transfer those funds to put effort toward Exit 22 to be able to take an assessment of that, take a look at some of the challenges that are happening today, what does it look like in the future, also being a bit more proactive of saying, hey, you know what, at some point Exit 21 will be under construction. Right now, you all live it each day. These are the two interchanges that provide the connection to Interstate 5. When Exit 21 is under construction, what can be done now in the near term up into the future to be able to improve maybe operations at Exit 22 even before Exit 21 gets constructed, but especially during the construction of Exit 21, what can the city do to be able to kind of help that interchange a bit more? So that's what this slide is depicting is there's going to be some extra funds and those will be put toward work such as Exit 22.
So, cut to the chase here. We got $2.6 million from the county. Conversations, our county commissioners have been wonderful. You see them come to our council meetings here regularly. I tell you what, they have been terrific to work with and partners. Conversation was had, hey, we're gonna have upwards to $600,000 remaining. It could be 300, it could be 400. We're still working through that number. They have given us authorization to put those funds to studying Exit 22. So this is not coming out of our general fund. This is not us just blowing government funding because again, Cowlitz County comes out of us taxpayers here as well. But it is value added because again, we have 2 exits here and as we are doing construction on 21, that will pop to 22. So I just wanted to get everyone understood there where it wasn't like we were just wasting money.
Next slide, please. So the next couple of slides are really focused on Exit 22, just to kind of give a snapshot, though. This is the study area that I'm sure everyone's pretty well aware of, but next slide, please. The next slide, we just wanted to provide an overview of what the scope could look like, and it's pretty similar to what we had accomplished in Exit 21. It's really starting with that data collection, doing some assessment. We know that there's been quite a number of studies, recent studies for Exit 22, so we'll want to capitalize on that momentum, that data, so I think there's a good starting point. We'll quickly get into working with future traffic modeling and really coming down to some alternatives development and assessment. Next slide, please. Definitely want to be able to engage the community, so we do plan to work with the city and other agency partners to be able to work through a public engagement process throughout the life of the project, and then ultimately work with the city, the stakeholders, WashDOT, as well as the community to come up with a preferred alternative, and then really sort of that draft and final documentation piece of it. Next slide, please. This is just a snapshot of the area and then some of the study intersections that we'll be taking a look at. And then you may actually even see folks this week out there collecting traffic counts, doing some assessments there. So I think that work is actually scheduled for tomorrow. So next slide. Just wanted to say thank you, and yeah, happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Fry.
So if you could go back one slide. I was just looking at kind of some of the areas you pinpointed as kind of, I guess, areas to study and to understand. If we close exit 21, obviously we have to for construction and everything's flowing through this way, we get a ton of traffic that will back up right out here. So do you plan to expand further down Old Pacific or just right there? Because I think it should be maybe a little more expanding into how the traffic flows up here and up through the roundabout.
Yep.
And what
Yeah.
options we might have.
Yeah, that's a great, yeah, this is where we're going to be collecting some traffic counts, at least for this first part. We'll definitely look at sort of a larger study area to be able to kind of take a look at how traffic's flowing. For exit 21, you bring up a really good point. We are now in the part where we're going to start looking at how do you construction phase this. I don't see a scenario where that interchange just gets shut down. So I don't envision ever a scenario where all the traffic was going to be flowing through exit 22.
Okay.
The intent is that there's a lot of residents that use it for daily commuting. There's the businesses, there's the trucking industry. It's just too much of a vital infrastructure area to be able to shut down completely. So we're going to be taking a look at that pretty hard over the next several months to figure out the phasing. But that'll feed into what we think traffic could look like under a construction scenario for exit 22. Your point is an excellent one because I think there's going to be all these feeder roads that we have to look at. This is just where we're starting to do the first traffic counts to be able to collect the data, and then we can kind of go into that existing conditions analysis. But thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions from council? Any questions from the audience? You all live in this community. Now is your chance to give us everything you have about exit 21. Thank you very much for coming out.
Yep. Thank you.
It's been great working with you guys these last couple of years.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's our pleasure.
Riley, was there anything you wanted to throw in?
No, that was covered it very well. Thank you.
All right, moving into citizen communications for items not on the agenda. Diane, Woodland Community Choir. Oh, come on, Asha. Come up with her.
Diane and I were going to come, but she's sending me, so I will speak for her. So, Asha Riley, Citizen Woodland, and my friend Diane in the back, if you want to wave. We met together a few months ago, and she had the idea of starting a community choir, the Woodland Community Choir. And together, we found a director, Mr. Brent Leobrotten, and we have flyers here, and we're hoping that the community will join us. We've talked with the Friends of the Library and hope to have our first performance at the 250th anniversary of our nation on July 3rd there at the library. We'll have practices on Monday from 4 to 6 at Woodland High School, starting on April 20th. And so we wanted to get the word out and recruit everybody. Come make a joyful noise with us. I'll be there. Diane will be there, and we'll hope you join us. So there's flyers on the back counter. If you scan the QR code, it'll take you to a survey where you can sign up and share your interest.
Have you talked? Oh, go ahead.
Is this for students as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know if you talked to Jim Bays.
we're going to. Yep, we're going to catch all the groups.
I mean, again, it's for everyone. It's not just
Everyone. Yep, this is a
Senior
community
reserve
choir. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then I wasn't sure if I'm on the agenda items or
you can
non-agenda. Is it
come
okay
on
to talk
now.
now? I'm here.
Fire away.
Oh, fire away. Okay, well, first I just want to
So
say,
hold on a second, Asha. Any questions on the
Oh.
choir piece from the community or anyone online? Excellent. Okay.
can we
Okay.
start with
Happy
just 5
to
minutes?
help promote that. I work downtown Woodland Revolution.
Okay.
We do a lot of sharing of that information, so I'll make sure to take a flyer and
Okay, wonderful. There's a whole stack there. I made 100 copies today, so
perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll grab some.
great. Okay,
Excellent.
okay, and onward.
Asha,
Okay.
Woodland School District.
Now I'm going to put on my superintendent hat, proud superintendent of Woodland Public Schools. First, I want to acknowledge the 6 students in the room that are here working toward their civic seal. Could you stand, kids? I'm really proud of you for coming. They're like, oh, we didn't want to stand, Mrs. Riley, but I'm proud of you. Woodland Public Schools, we are preparing kids for careers, college, and life. And what they're doing here is preparing to be future Woodland citizens, participating in their civic responsibilities. So I'm super proud to have them here. When we talk about college readiness, I'm happy to share that this semester, 354 kids were on the honor roll for a 3.0 GPA. 94 had a 3.5 GPA or higher, and 64 students had a 4.0 GPA for first semester. So congratulations. Yes. And more good news. If you were watching our good news reports in the fall, you saw our football team were state champions for academics in the 2A category. Well, the girls were not to be outdone. The girls basketball team also, we were just notified, had the highest GPA in the state for 2A. So congratulations to the girls basketball team. That word will go out public, but I got that news today, so I'm very proud of our girls as well. So great news. And on the career front, you might have seen that we just opened IQ Credit Union in Woodland High School. So we have kids learning banking skills. And if you are an IQ Credit Union member, I mean, it's an operating bank. So I plan to go make a deposit next week. There. So just some good news I wanted to share. And if I still have time, I wanted to just make a little statement. I know you're talking about impact fees. I wanted to make sure that I was in the room and shared the perspective of the school board. And so I'll just read to you a little statement. And I also have Leanne Bremer in the room. She's actually the attorney that helps with the calculation of the fee. It's not subjective, it's a formula. She vets that for all the regional school districts. And so she was happy to attend and be here for that. So with that, school impact fees are a planning tool intended to help districts manage growth responsibly. When new housing brings new families into the community, it generates additional students. If that growth requires additional capital investment, the impact fees are one way to ensure that the development contributes proportionate to the share of growth-related capital costs. Currently, the district has no immediate plans to construct a fourth elementary school. However, at this time, the impact fee revenue is a critical piece, helping us to address the growth at North Fork Elementary that is most highly impacted by the recent developments. We're doing that with portables. Just to give you a little bit of context, our last purchase of a portable was about $240,000. We're in the process of purchasing a second. It's about $266,000. So inflation is a very real factor that, as you see, has impacted the fees. You'll note that we're currently in our area one of the lowest. We have one of the lowest impact fees. But we're making the best of it. We're using those fees to responsibly expand our campuses. And if we don't raise the fees, we'll be in this boat in the future where we still have the lowest fees, and those costs have to come from somewhere. So it's really a decision about whether it falls on the local taxpayers now, later, or if that's shared with the developers and to what degree. The Woodland School Board recognizes the challenge and the complexity of this decision. They are here to support you. We are here to partner with you. We all serve the same community. We're grateful for your consideration. We do hope that you will take into consideration that inflation is a significant factor for us as you make this decision. Okay, any
questions, comments for Ms. Riley? Anyone from the community? I would just like to throw out these students here. Every council meeting we have one or two.
Yes.
It's great to have them come be a part of the community. I try to get them to speak up because again, they live here, they get to,
That's right.
they have a voice. So
That's right. We're proud of them.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, Keith for Planters Days.
Good evening, Council. Mr. Mayor. Keith Blau, President of Planters Days. Planters Days, June 18th through the 21st this year. You can sign up for the parade online and pay online this year. Nonprofits have a sign-up page as well. And our meeting is tomorrow night at the VFW at 6 o'clock. And we'd love to see some new faces there, help us get involved. You saw our lovely court, and they're doing a great job. And so we're really excited. If you want to get some more details about some of the inside workings of Planners Days, come on over to the meeting or write me a letter, get a hold of me. That's all I have on Planners Days. But Asha's announcement reminded me that I have a community band I'm working on, and that's also open to everybody. We have 3 members involved with it right now and about 30 songs, and looking for more people, and going to need a new place to practice, so to make some noise for a couple hours. So maybe a weekly community thing actually too. So
I got a rhetorical question on Planners Days just because it's always going to come out. Will there be wristbands this year?
that's all. That's
I
I know.
I'm just,
That's all based on the company and stuff, and that's details I just don't have.
I'm just throwing it out there.
I know everybody wants to know. You know, it's one of those things that just won't die,
So
right?
I wanted to be the first to. So, any questions?
Any
or
other
comments
questions?
Are you
for
still
people?
accepting sponsors?
Absolutely. We would love to have sponsors, prizes, partners for, and we have lots of stuff to take care of. But yeah.
So for the nonprofit paper that is on the website,
Right.
I don't see anywhere that you actually list like what you're wanting. Is that something you contact the nonprofit after they fill out the form?
Just, you can print out the form and give it to me.
But I'm just saying, do you want like specific details of what they're looking for? Like on the form, it just asks for name.
Oh, for
email.
donations?
No, like
For the nonprofit registration?
yes.
That's for Saturday,
Yes.
for you to have a booth
Yes.
there.
Okay.
Just so that, yeah, because the issue we had before was people being confused at what raffle tickets they were buying. So the Planners Days princesses go around and sell. Everybody else that's got raffles and promotions and things, keep them at their booths.
Okay.
That paper just kind of clarifies that.
Okay.
Anything else?
Excellent.
Thank you.
Anything from the committee? Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
All right. Agenda approval.
Motion to approve agenda minus item C.
Mayor
in the-
Deinhardt, I think some community members out in the audience wanted to participate in some comments.
Absolutely. My apologies.
I didn't get here in time to sign up, so I'm
You're
sorry about
perfectly
that.
fine.
Oh, okay.
I usually ask, and I just.
I figured you would, but
So,
okay.
My bad. I apologize again.
Mr. Mayor, council members, as Superintendent Riley said, my name's Leanne Bremer. I'm special counsel to the Woodland School District, in fact, all the Clark County school districts, and I assist the districts in developing their capital facilities plan and impact fees. And Woodland is one of 4 districts that's updating their capital facilities plan this year that will be approved by Clark County and hopefully the city of Woodland. And if we have a chance to come and do a more detailed presentation on the plan that we're asking you to approve and the impact fee calculation and all that goes into it, because it's a complicated formula. If you've seen it in your code, it looks like a lot of algebra, and there's a number of variables that get plugged into that formula that shoots out the fee. And we've done that for the Woodland School District and put it in the plan and submitted it to the city for your consideration. And I'm not quite sure of the timing of when that's going to happen, but we're happy to help shepherd that through and answer questions that you may have on
So,
it.
level set here. We had 2 meetings with school impact fees with the proposal. The first one was going to roughly 10,000 and some change for residential.
Right.
The recommendation from council was to send it back to the planning commission, who already had passed it up. Went back to the planning commission. They kept it at that same recommendation. It came back to council. Council voted no. I haven't had a council member or anybody reach out to me to say, hey, can we adjust the impact fees? So they have kind of remained at the $5,900 range until I get a community or a council member or somebody to say, hey, let's, look at it. Let's get the calculation. I mean, so that's where we're at kind of.
Okay.
On
Well,
school
I would
impact fees.
I would hope that you would reopen it up so that we can maybe do a more detailed presentation. I would say that, and I also want to thank Travis, who's been really great to work with and helping us through this process, that at a minimum, and Travis could confirm this, that the city will need to at least adopt the capital facilities plan and make it part of your comprehensive land use plan. And I don't know if that's happened, but
That hasn't happened.
okay, all right. So that at a minimum needs to happen, and then you do have the final word on what that fee is. Your code says that, so I understand.
As a passer, yeah.
That's right.
So, Mr. Friend.
Yeah, if you'd be willing to come back, I think a lot of the question that came from the community that we kept hearing was there's no formula, or how did you get here, or why this
Oh, yeah.
formula.
Would love to walk through that.
I mean, I think that could be a benefit if that's something, I don't know if you could coordinate with Amanda to maybe to get on a future agenda so we
Yes.
could
So
get that
council
out.
member asked me to put it on the agenda. We will put it on the agenda. I mean, again, like any other things on these agenda, you all have a say. So I just need direction from council.
And I'm just going to be very blunt too. I mean, for the ones that said no, it was more of not that they don't want to have some upgrade. They just thought it was too large of a one-time jump, that they were looking at how can we split it up? How can we do different things? And so when we sent it back to the planning commission, they did not split it up in any way. So if you do a presentation to kind of give some
Get some
direction there,
options there.
that
Yep.
would be
Okay.
beneficial
Yep.
to get some possibly change
Happy
in
to do that.
results.
Like a 2 to 5 year phase in or something.
I appreciate it very
Yeah,
much.
yes.
That would be very helpful.
Okay.
And I don't know if this is a reasonable ask, but you mentioned that you're counsel for multiple districts
I
in
am.
our area.
Yes.
And you did, well, I don't know if it was Asha mentioned, but that we're maybe the lowest or one of the lowest impact fees.
Currently, yes.
But to get our area, like kind of footprint in the area, to see how does that compare to other areas, right?
Yes, I can bring you a slide of all the fees that are charged by the other school districts. Where I live, Ridgefield School District, no surprise, they have the highest fee in the county because of all the growth that's happening down there. So you'll see them at $16,000 per single family resident.
Not to put you on the spot here. So Woodland is $5,900.
Yeah.
This is for single family.
Mhm.
Woodland is $5,900. Battleground is $10,760. Hawkinson is $7,790. La Center is $7,536. Camas is $6,650. Evergreen School District is $6,432. Ridgefield, $16,880, and Vancouver is $2,786. And so again, if you look at some of the ones like Evergreen and Vancouver, again, well-established schools, not a lot of growth, not a lot of housing. It's
Not a lot of growth
So,
there, yeah.
I mean, and you can go into multifamily, and it's kind of the same thing.
Yes,
So-
thank you for having that right at your fingertips. So happy to come back. We can work with Amanda on when that would be a good time.
Would love to have
Yeah.
that on the
Agreed.
agenda.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on up, Mr. Fashing.
You were pointing to someone behind me
No,
for a second.
no. All you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, Bill Fashing, Director of the Cowlitz-Wahkiakum Council of Governments. Good to be here again this evening. I hadn't planned on talking, but Travis twisted my arm and said I should. No, I'm joking. I do want to thank Councilmember Michelson. She has attended her first COG board meeting, participated, so thank you very much, and I look forward to doing an orientation for both the new members here fairly quickly. So, couple quick things. Wanted to mention there is an open call for projects for surface transportation block grant transportation dollars. It's a whopping $3.6 million or so, not enough to get Exit 21 moving too much, but maybe enough to help supplement the next phase of funding for Exit 22, next steps, or whatever it may be. So just as a reminder, I think Riley is well aware of that, but wanted to mention that to all of you. The other thing I was going to mention was Human Services Transportation Plan. That's something that's top of mind for all of you, I'm sure. But the COG every 4 years does a Human Services Transportation Plan. We're in the middle of community outreach and input in that process right now. We do have a survey open to the public. You can find it at cwcog.org. And it's there on the front page, I think on the left side, under surveys. Would welcome everyone in the audience and anyone else to go and do the survey on your transportation needs. If you know someone, an elderly person, a student, someone that can't get around too easily, we're looking for input on the challenges that they're seeing in the transportation system. And here in Woodland, where you don't have a strong public transportation system, it's even more important to get that input. The final thing that I'll mention is we're also kicking off, and we should go out to bid with proposals hopefully next month to do a countywide regional transit, rural regional transit analysis. So we're really going to take what we're doing with the HS Human Services Transportation Plan. I try not to use acronyms, but they slip out. But to really delve deeper into transit needs at the local level. And this will hopefully supplement, and hopefully you guys know that River Cities Transit is providing services from Kelso Longview through Kalama, Woodland, and then down to the casino and another location in whatever county that is, Clark County. This would supplement and try to help build on what River Cities has already stepped up to do, replacing the old route that was done by Lower Columbia CAP for many years. And hopefully River Cities has enhanced that dramatically and made it more accessible to more people to get to Vancouver area for needs and services and such. So I'll stop there and happy to answer any questions there might be, and enjoyed the presentation on Exit 21. I think we've been hearing this for 1 or 2 years now, and hopefully we'll be able to move that forward.
Exactly. I appreciate you speaking up. You're more than welcome every time. I like having you come here, Bill. Questions from council?
Thank you. Have a great evening.
No,
I may sneak out before you finish.
All right. Have a great night. Drive home
Bill.
carefully. Any other items not on the agenda that people would like to speak about? And again, I apologize. All right, moving into agenda approval.
Motion to approve agenda with the removal of section 4, item C, open public meeting presentation with the city attorney.
Second.
I have a first from Ms. Dowdy and a second from Mr. Houston. Any questions? Our attorney, she's online, but she wasn't able to travel down here due to illness. So we postponed that as a reason the open public meeting presentation is not on there. So I have a first and a second. Ms. Hogan.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Houston,
Aye.
Councilmember Friend,
Aye.
Councilmember Michelson.
Aye.
Moving into reports of standing committees, public safety and human resources. A couple council members are not here, so those were canceled tonight, but finance met. Who's reporting out on finance?
Right on finance. We met tonight at 6:05. In attendance were Councilmember Houston, Councilmember Burke, Terry, and myself. So a few items on the agenda. The annual financial report is in progress to meet the state auditor's May deadline. Payroll, the payroll has transitioned to Tyler Tech, and that's running smoothly. So lots of positive feedback now that that's up and running. And the city's still working with Tyler Tech to establish an ETA to transition our utility billing over from Minol. We adjourned at 6:14.
So, questions or comments on that? Give a little clarity on the Tyler Tech. So if you remember Tyler Tech, financials, then payroll. These are things that we've had in the budget. And the next one is the utility billing. So Minol is still doing that. Working with Riley and team, we hope to have that transition where we could cut over at the first of the year, nice clean cutoff. Again, no guarantees. We're still working on timeline. No pressure on Terry and her team to get that done, but that is what we're working for with Tyler Tech. The in-house billing will be from Riley's shop. I know in the past we used to hear that we were going to have to add FTEs and bodies. I think we can do it with our existing workforce with no additional cost to the city. So great work by the staff over there. Any questions on that one? John, come on up, sir. We're friends.
Yeah.
Use the mic, buddy.
John Kenwisher. I had a question. So the garbage is now totally off of Minol?
So
they're going to do their own.
100% billed now
Okay.
by waste control.
Yeah.
So again, everyone should have received a letter from Midall. We
Yeah.
wanted them to take their accountability because
Right,
it was
right.
them. We gave them a file that said, here is how much everyone should be billed for their garbage.
Right.
And then they said, oh, well, it's only a half month, so let's cut it in half.
Yeah.
So-
Okay. Okay. That was it.
Again, the city does not do billing for outside parties. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, reports to city council. Ms. Dowdy.
I want to say that I think it was very well done on how we handled the slide. Traffic ran much smoother than it did the last time. I also saw some new yield signs at the roundabout by the corner store. Nice and bright red posts too, so they're very eye-catching. One's already damaged. And the plays this weekend. So if you don't have anything to do Saturday or Sunday, 2 o'clock and 6 o'clock shows on both days. Tickets are $10. You can get them online or at the door. Is cash, and it is Lion King Jr. And there's going to be great costumes and singing and awesome performance. So come check it out.
So my friend John, I heard kind of a chuckle when you heard about the slide traffic here. Or was it you, Mr. Shaw? So from my perspective, and I will just, where I sit, 4 o'clock, 4:30 call from EMS up in Cowlitz County. I would agree. They came out. They went to Green Mountain. Again, Cowlitz County isn't inside the city. Inside the city, we have 6,500. But if you look at the cars and everything that are coming, we have coming up river. We have people on the Clark County side. We have people who are coming off of I-5. So again, it's very difficult for that. But it's like, okay, what is our safety? Safety is our biggest priority here. Making sure that the semis, local traffic, we're getting up and over Green Mountain. Again, it's a public road. We can argue whether or not they should be allowed to go up and over and all that. I'm not here to say what they can or can't. I was just appreciative that Cowlitz County sent somebody down there and they took decision of what they wanted to do with Green Mountain Road. If you look at the signals at I-5, people can say, well, why didn't we have police officers there? Again, our police officers go there if the signals are out. If the signals are there, again, they're working. We're trying to get traffic. I mean, we can have a police officer do the same exact thing. I would rather those police officers go out and, do other things that are what I would call more value added than somebody who might be inconvenienced for an extra 15 minutes driving down Lewis River Road or that. That is, again, Todd's view. Police is here for, protection and safety. So if it was a safety incident at I-5, I certainly would have, talked to Chief Gibbs and said, hey, let's get someone there. So hopefully that clears up a little bit of the laughter that was there, but I do absolutely agree with Ms. Dowdy on that piece there. Any comments or questions about that? I would happy to have a conversation on it. So, all right. Other items for council? Ms. Mike.
Mr. Belial is here, and he had sent an email discussing the audio quality for city council, which we touched on just briefly before the meeting with Amanda about how these are direct microphones, because a lot of the community have complained about how you can't hear on YouTube, and so that's why it's important I speak into this so they hear. But Amanda, Ms. Hogan, you've already ordered some indirect, right? And they should be here. So I wanted Keith to know that. And then Keith, I was going to invite you to come up, and you had asked about the Washington State Historic Building Code, and you wanted to do a workshop about that.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like that's
something to add to the next one. Yes.
Aaron came and talked about that too.
Okay, yeah.
So, and it sounds like that's actually already in the works.
Is it? I wasn't sure. I was sick all last week. I just didn't want this to not get,
I appreciate those that got back to me on that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to do advisory committee now.
I thought that was a perfect segue.
If that's okay.
Yeah.
Before I get into Chamber of Commerce, I was going to also mention that the museum is open this weekend from Saturday from noon to 4, and I'll be there running the video for Living History. We've been doing videotapes of residents that have lived here giving accounts of the history of the area, and it's super interesting. All right, Chamber of Commerce. Woodland Chamber wrapped up the legislative Zoom calls March 10th, and We'll have a review from Representative Abarno and Orcutt and Senator Braun on the 14th of April. Everybody is invited to these. Let's see. The March After Hours event will be at the Oak Tree Restaurant on the 26th. That's next week on Thursday from 5 to 7, featuring the Planners Days Court as well as the additions to the Oak Tree, the new changes at the Oak Tree. They'll be featured. The next scheduled luncheon after that will be March 31st. So no luncheon tomorrow, no luncheon the following week, but on the 31st we'll have one. And I will be the featured speaker that day, showcasing an upcoming community leadership clinic series that I'm putting together. Following meetings in April, of course, will include the Port of Woodland on the 7th and then that legislative wrap-up on the 14th. Get a hold of me if you have grand opening or ribbon cutting or any other promotions. We're always looking for new members and ideas to work together to encourage, promote, and preserve the economic well-being and quality of life in our community. Any questions?
I had one about the Historical Society.
Okay.
You said that on Saturday you're going to have people there speaking that have lived here their whole lives. Do you already have them? Like, how many speakers are there? Just out of
I don't have anybody scheduled for this Saturday, but I've got a couple people in mind. But if you have somebody in mind, I'd be glad to.
My grandma, she's 86.
Yeah,
Born and raised.
bring her over there and we'll set her up. I got a studio set up in the garage.
Oh, cool.
And you'd be surprised how fast an hour goes by with those. And the stories are so good. They're really incredible. I this last weekend was able to sit with Louise Bozarth and her brother David, and they have a lot of memories and history and things that they've seen happen here. So, all right.
Cool.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Get your grandpa. Yeah. Her grandpa, and family has been here years and years. So I was just telling, Princess Taylor, or Queen Taylor, get your grandpa down there.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, all right, moving into downtown Woodland revitalization. Come on up, Adonica.
Good evening, everyone. Update for downtown Woodland revitalization. We just had our meeting. We are gearing up for hot summer nights. Our first one will be July 10th. So we're beginning to plan all the movies, the music, all the activities that we always put on. Looking forward to the summer months for sure, and more sunshine. We also have decided to go ahead and move forward in working with the city to lease the civic building and get moved in there so we can start promoting firsthand every nonprofit, the community, all the different events going on. We just feel like it's time for us to have a home base so we can answer the call to the volunteers that are interested and make sure that there's a lot of hands-on information being shared with the local community as well as visitors and family members and folks. We've got a lot of new folks moving into the area, and oftentimes they don't know where to go to get information about what Woodland's about, and we just are looking forward to sharing that information. So that's where we're at right now. Things are really good.
So, just to make sure, there hasn't been a lease signed. The lease will be signed by council, approved by council. So
No, we're working through that. That's what I meant. I'm sorry if I didn't make that clear.
I just wanted to make sure that someone is, was
oh.
there a lease signed? No, there's
Oh,
not.
no.
Yeah.
It's through the process. We're going through it.
I knew exactly what you meant,
Yeah.
Monica. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, nobody panic. Not doing anything on the sly. It's all good. Any questions for me?
Any questions for
Well, I just want to say something while Miss Riley is also here. Miss Riley, we've talked in several of our meetings about how maybe Woodland High School's like CTE program and stuff could even work together to kind of display and even possibly at some point sell some of their stuff at that location if that works out. So just something for you to think about moving forward.
Yeah, we'll be looking into all different kinds of resources to help with volunteers and make sure that we're promoting, equally for all the different things that we have locally available. Okay?
Any other questions for Ms. Simpson? Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
I thought maybe your husband was going to do the presentation tonight.
He will never speak for me.
Did you guys bring separate cars tonight, Dave? All right, then. Moving into reports to city officers, the mayor's reports. So, really quickly, upcoming events. There's a planning commission meeting on the 19th this week. There is a city council meeting on the 6th of April, and then on the 20th of April. Civil service vacancy, we've had one applicant. Just want to give people a last call. LTAC. So we just talked about various things. LTAC, we opened it back up. People can apply through the end of the month. We still are looking for applications. We have not received any yet, but that is out there. Keith talked about ribbon cutting. I just wanted to say that Builder's First Source, which is open down by the old Little League field, they had a ribbon cutting attended by a couple hundred people. It was a wonderful event. Again, community members, new location here inside the city limits. It's great to see that kind of growth here. Last thing I have is we talked about a retreat. It looks like the retreat will be April 25th. We'll open up with an icebreaker. Then we will go into a discussion with the Planning Commission on what our goals and ambitions are from City Council, and then go into 100 Davidson, and then close out with a communication on if community members and things want social media. So it will be those 4 items. It will start at 8 a.m. and go till 11:30 a.m. on Saturday the 25th right here at the council chambers. Any questions or comments on that? Okay. Consent items.
Motion to approve consent items.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Any questions on the minutes from our last city council meeting? First from Ms. Dowdy, a second from Mr. Friend. Ms. Hogan.
Councilmember Michelson.
Aye.
Councilmember Friend.
Aye.
Councilmember Houston.
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy.
Aye.
Councilmember Burke.
Aye.
Okay, the time is now 8:02. We will enter into workshop with item E, cannabis retail license density. So this one here, workshop, the question's been raised about the number of retail cannabises that may operate inside the city limits. And I will open up to Emily. You're able to unmute. You're more than welcome to chime in at any point. So is Travis. So one of the things that comes about is the social equity program, and you can read here the Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board, LCB, to reduce barriers into the cannabis licensing system during COVID. They opened up and gave or offered up licenses that could be issued. The owner of those licenses needed to find a location that had a location to operate. So Woodland, we've allowed retail marijuana sales now. And so the question that comes before council later tonight, and so a workshop just so people understand the playing field is, do we want to allow more than one? Do we want to allow social equity licenses within the city limits? What do we want to do now that retail marijuana is been authorized in C2 zoning within the city limits? Anything you would like to chime in, Emily?
No, I reviewed the WAC. Sorry, this is why I'm not down there in person. I reviewed the WACs and the process. I'm not sure if Travis has anything else to contribute to this, but it's an option that the council can explore, and we can work through what that looks like if that's something the council wants to do.
Okay. So questions, comments from council? Mr. Houston.
I was just looking at the population. The state figures they have give 566 licenses divided by however many people, 7.8 or 9 million, which is 14,000. So one for every 14,000 residents, and we're not even close to that in Woodland. I mean, it would be 20 plus years if we ever get to that number. So I don't know if we can justify opening another store with the amount of people that we have here in town. Just doesn't make sense.
Obviously, I've been a firm supporter of cannabis, but that being said, we are a town of 6,500 people, and for a town our size, my personal feelings is, in addition to how divisive this was already to our community, I feel like one store right now is a pretty measured step forward, and I think that is about. I think that's fair. I mean, I'm not opposed to this conversation in the future. But as for right now, I just really don't think there's any rush to open another one. I think that's kind of where I stand.
Ms. Dowdy?
I was a no. However, I do agree with all the comments that are being made that with the decision to open a store without the voice of our citizens, it is not right for us to continue to inundate them with more than one until we really know how this one is taken.
Right, give it some time to see. I mean, this just happened, and it you know. So I don't know. I from what I remember, and I think this is what I'm reading here, we have an allotment of one, which we've got. So I mean, that's where I'm at.
And I don't think Kalama or Castle Rock or there's a few cities that have none. So I think there's available places to go besides here that don't have one. Does Castle Rock have one? Do they? Kalama doesn't, right?
I don't think so.
All right, I'm going to open it up to community members. Anybody that would like to yay, nay, different perspective? I have citizen comments on the agenda. John, you're up, sir.
John Kenwisher. How did this ever get on the docket? Who's pushing this?
So it's one of those things as
That's what I want to know. I would like to know who's pushing it. Somebody's pushing it, or when they got on the agenda.
So Travis Goddard.
So after the years of having conversations with the one license holder that we had, we do know that there is another potential business that would like to locate in Woodland. And rather than waiting for them to come forward and raise this question again, staff has brought it up because there is a question about what it would take to get a second license allotted for Woodland. And we wanted to bring this to the council before there was anybody in line specifically with applications pending, because we needed to understand how the process works. And I didn't want the council to not be prepared for that conversation if and when a second applicant comes on board.
So my next question is it from somebody out of town?
Well,
I mean,
nobody,
you could have people coming from everywhere pretty soon.
yes. And that's not relevant because we are not dealing with a specific applicant at this point.
So somebody brought it on. You can't tell, it wouldn't have got on here.
I added it after having a conversation with the mayor.
So John,
Yeah.
here.
Okay,
So,
go ahead.
Todd Deinhardt, looking ahead here. Okay.
Yeah.
One of the discussions that we've had over and over again when we talk about legalized retail marijuana sales in C2 zoning, that has been what we've been talking about in C2.
Right.
Are we going to have one? We're going to have two? We're going to have 20? We're going to have 30? How many are we going to have in this town here? I love and adore this town here. I'm almost like you in a lot of our thoughts, and I'm like, what is this going to look like? Are we going to have 1, 5, 10? So I've had conversations with Travis and said, hey, Travis, what is the limit here? What can't be done? So this here is one of those things. I said, we're going to have a workshop. Travis said, perfect, I'll get you the information. And so we now are having a workshop so So again, city council decides, I just implement it here. And so I wanna find out, where does our council sit on 1, 5, 10, now that we have it in C2 zoning?
So what is the formula then if you were to take on another one?
So what it is, if you don't mind me answering
Go
this
ahead.
question. So with how the Cannabis and Liquor Board does it is it's based off your population.
Right, I know that.
And so we have one, we're
Right,
allowed one, which
I
makes
know that,
sense.
yeah.
And so then you have what's the social equity program, and that kind of allows anyone to come on in. And so that would be the way that they can come in and open more. And so it's up to us to say, we're not gonna have that. And that's, so he's doing a preemptive strike here because we feel that that's might be happening.
Getting ahead of the game.
Yeah, getting ahead of it, so we could say, hey, so we're all prepared for it when someone does come and say, hey, I'd like to open up another cannabis shop, and we're like, well, that's something that we've already talked about.
Well, I would like to tell you, I used to live in Milwaukee, Oregon, used to go to Oregon City a lot. If you've ever been down Malala Avenue in Oregon City, there's probably 7 or 8 pot shops on one street. And so it's up to you, City Council. It's in your ballpark. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Ms. Dowdy.
So, John, I just want to let you know that I did go to meet with Travis earlier this week, and he had informed me that it was already on the agenda. But that was a big concern because during all of the discussions leading up to the final vote, we were made aware of this new way that people could come into the city. And I wanted to make sure that we got ahead of it before that was an issue as well. So it was something that they were already working on, but it was a concern that I also brought up, knowing that we don't have a lot of that zone area in our town, that we don't want that exact same thing happening to where you can see them from each other's doorsteps. So.
Anyone else for Mr. Goddard?
Sorry, a couple other things. I did want to clarify that there is the opportunity for the council to make some decisions based upon how many licenses, if they wanted to expand it beyond the 1. So you could say 2, 3, 10. And then you would also address issues like, would you like them clustered in the same spot? Would you like them spread out in different locations in town? Because during the conversations that we've had over the years, the question of where they're located and how many kids drive by those shops, do you want them next to each other, or do you want them tucked away in different parts of town so that no one route is saturated with shops if that's the route you go? And then I also think that it's relevant to recognize that Washington State has started doing changes and House bills that go into effect if a local jurisdiction has not raised the issues and adopted ordinances them. So right now that is in the housing. So if we don't adopt new accessory dwelling unit standards, the state laws automatically go into effect by default. And one of my concerns is if we don't have that discussion now, if the state just adopts and the state says, okay, it's going from 10,000 or 14,000 to 3,000, then if we don't have a standard in effect, then we would automatically get 1, 3, 6, 8, 10 dictated by the state, as opposed to you making a local policy decision for the city. That's why I wanted to make sure this conversation occurs.
Good looking out.
Okay. Anyone else from the community or anyone online? All right. No other conversation on cannabis retail license density. Moving into workshop item F, alternative methods for collecting impact fees. So coming out of our last city council meeting, we had Bobby, who was here, Bobby Vick, who was discussing the tap house on Garrick Street that he was trying to build. He was saying that, and Bobby is online. If he wants to unmute, I'd be happy to let him unmute here in a second. What the impact fees are and all of that. So the question was, hey, what can we as a city council do to with impact fees? So with that being said, I had Travis look at a few things with Emily, our attorney, people were citing Ridgefield. So one of the things I wanted to bring up is Ridgefield, collecting impact fees. So you can see Ridgefield collects impact fees. What they're different doing, they do have a low income projects that are covered, but those are covered by the city from the general fund. Again, that is what people need to remember. And if they exempt a individual development, that comes from the general fund. So you still have dollars going into your impact fee to repair roads and do those things, but again, the general fund takes that. There's a credit system where improvements can be done, and the developer will achieve a full credit. Expenditures in excess of the assessed impact fees can be traded or sold by the holder to the next person, who is looking for impact fees. So there's that. We talked about, Travis, help me if I'm wrong here. We talked about deferment. So what the deferment is rather than collecting when your permit is issued, you can defer and take it and pay it when it gets to occupancy. So that is another option.
But ultimately, you have to you take the funds. You have to replace them from somewhere.
Correct.
Yeah.
They come from the general fund.
Or grants also.
So I heard the usage out there of a veteran's preference. Emily and Travis both looked into those. We couldn't find any information out there. We used AI. We did as much research, and we just couldn't find anything that was a veteran's preference out there. And so then I talked about, the deferral, which places are out there, like I talked about. And then the last one was the exemptions. So again, if you look at exemptions, you have a list of, 10 plus commercial businesses that are wanting to come into the city of Woodland. Wendy's, for example, okay? They came in and paid their impact fees. They're larger business, I get that. Trammell Crow, if you turn around and provide an exemption for one business, those other places can cancel their permits and come back and go and say, well, I would like to pay this now for my permit. Trammell Crow, that would be north of $1.3 million of impact fees. So again, I just want to throw out there, we have done research. I heard, people using Ridgefield. I heard these other items. Emily, I'm going to let you unmute again, just because you and I have exchanged emails on this, and Travis, and anything I am missing or anything that you want to throw in on these here for the conversation.
I think you've covered it. I think the main point for impact fees is that they do have to come from somewhere. So a lot of times the general fund is the one that kind of supplements that. There was also talk about kind of the broad public purpose reason. The research that I've done on that has found more to like public facilities, businesses. I wasn't able to find any sort of exemption for private businesses, those kinds of things. So I think when we're looking at that, it's about how to ensure that the impacts are fairly spread across all of the development. Travis, I'm not sure if you have anything else to add.
Okay. So just, again, throwing numbers here like I tend to do. So, park fund. So we do charge impacts for parks. La Center charges a flat fee. Ridgefield charges $4,400 for a single family. We're $4,500. City of Vancouver is $6,100. Washougal is $6,800. So we're on the south side of that. Transportation, we charge $8,300, $8,400 per trip here. If you go to La Center, they're $7,500 per trip. Ridgefield is $599 per trip. So you say, okay, wait a minute, why is theirs so low? Costco, In-N-Out Burger, they have all paid all of that development, and they just recently have gone in and now lowered it because they're saying, hey, we've got this big development, we've got this money, and now I can lower it down to $599. So if I continue on here, fire, Clark County has no impact fees, but our fire is $654. Washougal and Camas is based on a square footage. And then school, like I read earlier, we're, a little bit lower. So again, I just want people to understand where we are
I
in
have a question.
relation
I have a
to
question.
impact fees. Mr. Houston.
Can the city pass an ordinance to allow waiving, like for a veteran-owned small business or some kind of incentive or downtown redevelopment, certain situations, but can we pass an ordinance to allow some sort of waiver?
Emily, I mean, it's not downtown, so I don't know how we would pass downtown.
Veteran-owned.
But what veteran-owned?
I haven't been able to find really what that authority is. So again, if that's something to look at, where you would still need to have the money come from somewhere. I also am not. I don't have case law on how that would be interpreted as far as whether that would be a reasonable exemption, whether there would be any other types of claims of discrimination that might come up from it. I can look into that more deeply, but because I couldn't find any authority that is an option for an exemption in statute, I didn't pursue looking through case law very much.
But you're thinking it would have to still come out of the general fund when you give an exemption to one party.
Correct.
Okay.
Or if you
So when
Hold on
we've
a second. I think Mr. Houston had
or if you could prove that it doesn't increase the traffic or service demand, could you have the study reevaluated for the trips to see if you could?
Travis, do you want to touch on the trip study?
So the traffic study does include categories that involve pass-by trips. So for example, like the Taco Bell in front of Walmart, it assumes that people who are shopping at Walmart will stop at Taco Bell and otherwise. And I want to say it's something like a 65% reduction. And so if it is one of those categories, that's already built into the calculation.
And for this particular business, there is a reduction already built into it. It is 30 trips, and then the reduction took it down to 19 trips. So, Ms. Dowdy.
So I know we've had a moratorium before. Does a moratorium waive the impact fees? No.
A moratorium is used for when there are cases when there's an emergency or a change in law that warrants the city ceasing accepting applications so that they can correct something that needs to be corrected. But it's very specific. So in other words, if an intersection was in failure, we could do a moratorium for no new development that sends trips through that intersection because it's unsafe or it's not functioning.
Okay, maybe moratorium's not the right word.
I think she's talking about
When
what
we
we did
did
during
the-
COVID.
We had a window of
I can't
time.
A holiday. We
A
had
holiday. That's
not
okay.
all-
So holiday.
But again, we can do a holiday.
So can you do a holiday for just small businesses, not large, big corporate businesses that are?
Emily, can we split it up in commercial and say, okay, this commercial business, but this commercial
I mean,
business,
because
no?
that even opens up the downtown to have those small shops that people are trying to get into and revitalize our downtown a little bit if we had a window of time.
So hold on a second. The downtown, those trips have already been paid in those buildings.
What about the public benefit
So do you
argument?
see what I'm saying?
Okay,
So-
I do see what you're saying. Okay.
So the building where, the Maze Cafe is going in, when they bought that building, the price of that building is built in with trips in there. So, Emily, commercial, can you break it up and say this commercial, yay, this commercial, no?
Again, I haven't found any authority that allows for that kind of breakup because you have to look at the class, of who you're granting an exemption to, and there's no basis in statute for us to essentially call out small businesses. There's not a definition of what small businesses are, and So state law has given us kind of what the call outs can be for those types of exemptions. And I haven't found a way to differentiate different types of commercial activities.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Fred.
So, while I understand the requests and I get that we want to encourage businesses to come into the town, I think my big question is for the proposed business at the location that it's proposed at, and with the potential of, I think I heard, I could be wrong, but a potential venue of 200 plus for a concert. And I think about this road and what could be required as far as construction on that road to support that type of traffic flow coming in. And that's the purpose of an impact fee, correct? So that we could build a new road or make it to where it could support that type of traffic flow. Is that a fair statement?
So as part of the development process, they are required to do on-site frontage improvements. So they will be doing turn lanes, curb gutter, sidewalk. The impact fee is collected for pressure that's put on the rest of the system. So in other words, they can search for ways to do either mitigation in lieu of dollars, or they can pay the dollars. So for example, they could do a sidewalk from there to the Dairy Queen, and it might be worth the same amount of dollars that they would have paid, but they could do in lieu of improvements. But that is a system that has a bunch of paperwork that goes with it. And so in some cases, it may not be worth the effort for the amount of dollars that are collected and the amount of administration that goes along with administering that may be offset.
So kind of as a follow-up to that, let's say that we found some way to exempt, do a holiday, do some way to stop that impact fee. Those improvements that we talked about still have to be completed, right? Somebody still has to do them. So then my assumption is that burden of that cost shifts to the taxpayer, to property taxes. So any homeowner in Woodland will, in a sense, be paying whatever impact fee we decide to waive.
Which is why the general fund is responsible for backfilling any waivers or exemptions.
So it's really hard for me to sit here this week and say we should waive that impact fee when last meeting we discussed impact fees for a builder to the school and saying we needed to make housing more affordable. By doing this, my take is that we, in a sense, take those tax dollars and make housing less affordable. I mean, that's just how I'm reading the whole thing.
So,
What about giving a credit or reduction for a public benefit argument for if you're creating a community gathering space that benefits the community?
Emily, do you want to open that up and explain what a community gathering space is?
So a community gathering space, it would be something owned by the city or another type of community entity where people could come for free, and so it's not generating revenue. Those are generally what the community gathering spaces are. Again, I haven't found anything that indicates that that can be used to identify a private for-profit business.
I think we should do a little more research because I know there's towns and cities that are doing all kinds of different impact fee things for impact fees. I think we should just look into other avenues.
I have kind of an ignorant question.
Nothing's ignorant. Fire away.
When you have a hefty impact, this is probably for Travis. When you have such a huge impact fee, can you do payments just have to be paid in a lump sum?
We can defer them.
So right now, I do know that there are a couple other models that are out there. Some for residential, some jurisdictions allow for deferment until the certificate of occupancy, the idea being that until the family moves into that house, there's no school pressure and there's no trips. So you could defer, and our code currently allows that only for single family residential. I have seen a couple other jurisdictions that say that that can be deferred until sale. So for example, the developers who are building houses wouldn't have to pay those impact fees until they sell the house. Theoretically, when that mortgage is taken out and the developer is paid, that's when they would make the city whole. Again, based on the idea that the traffic doesn't occur. And then there are other jurisdictions that allow up to 18 months after pulling of the building permit. And the idea there being that they may be able to get a substantial amount of the construction done or sell the property before it's triggered. So those are the only three options that I have seen.
Mr. Burke.
One of the questions.
Into the mic, please.
Huh?
Into the mic.
Okay. One of the things that concern me of that is if you get a place that tries to build something like that and finds out they can't afford it, what do we do with that building? You know, I mean, it's a building, is it worth it?
So our code specifically says that any deferred impact fees should be filed as a lien against the property. So if a property were to go into bankruptcy or something and that property is sold, the city would be in line to get those funds paid, even if the project doesn't move ahead.
That's cheap.
Okay, any other questions from council? I have people online and in the community that want to speak, so
I got one more question. Emily, I know Travis just gave us three options, but is it possible that we could say, like, okay, after the doors open and your business begins to run, you have 18 months window to pay these fees? And that if you were to close and not be successful, then a lien is put on your property upon selling, that we still regain those fees?
Well, why wouldn't you put the lien on it?
Well, I mean, you would have the lien, but I mean,
pass an ordinance that says that we can do that.
is that something that is able to be looked at, or is that just a no-no?
That's something that I could look at more. I can't, you know, off the top of my head, come up with the basis in statute as to why that would be prohibited. So that is something that I could look into a little bit more if you would like.
Yeah, I think if I don't want to give a holiday if it applies to all businesses, because when we're having someone with a 1 point something million, it's not worth losing that over a small business. But this way, it still would give a benefit to small businesses that can't afford it all up front to still open their doors and get that money coming in to help them offset that. So I would like to know that possibility.
Okay, I'm going to open it up. So just so people are aware, so Trammell Crow at 1.3 million. Then we have another couple of projects for 110,000, another one for 170, 118, one for 336. Field Instruments right down here is 268. So in total, there's well over $2 million here that we would be as a city. So first, I'm going to go to Max. So Max, I'm going to lower your hand and you can unmute, sir.
Thank you. Thanks, City Council and everyone present. Just want to say, appreciate all the group effort to try to help this business. I'm passionate myself, would like to help in any way that I can. And so I just kind of brainstorming, I had an idea. I know the ITS, the calculations for the trips comes from the transportation manual, where they look at the type of use and then they calculate the amount of trips. My question maybe is for Travis. Travis, when the applicant submitted for the type of use for this business, what classification did they use?
Go ahead, Ms. Garver.
I believe it was a eating and drinking establishment.
Okay. Is there any type of compatible use or classification that the applicant can use to change the type of use that would lower the amount of trips, at least for the time being? Maybe he opens up the business, gets the business going, then changes the type of use to that, that increases his trips afterwards. And so he might pay a lower trip use up front for a different category type of use, and then he changes the use and then pays the associated upgraded transportation fees. Do you think that would be possible?
So we could take a look at that. That is an interesting idea. Part of what happens, though, is they do vesting for their trips in infrastructure. So in other words, if exit 21 or exit 22 is near failure, then we would pass a moratorium that would prevent new development from occurring. And in this case, they proposed 3 lots, 3 buildings with 3 portable food carts. And so by getting their trips in and vested ahead of time, then they would be at the front of the line to continue developing. If additional stuff comes in on the back end, then we would delay later projects as opposed to first one to build or first one to pay for their impact fees. It would not give them rights to the front of the line just because they have cash, whereas somebody else who's vested in the line ahead of them. So there are other situations that bear on this.
Understood. And is there any opportunity for them to phase, maybe get vested, but just development?
They are, yep. So it's based upon when they pull their building permits. So their first phase is for their the brew house or the tap house, and then they would pay for each of the food carts as a food cart is identified and moves into the property. And then the second and third building would be paid for at a later time when that building is built.
Okay, but the transportation impact fees, are they charged just for the brew house at this time or for all 3?
The brew house.
Just the brew house, understood. And was there any prior use on this piece of property prior to all this going in? I haven't looked at it too closely.
There was a single family house, so they are vested for 10 trips plus 1 PM peak hour trip. So
okay,
yep.
And you're crediting those trips.
Yep. And they also get credit for the fire impact fee plus the water sewer connection that was in place.
Okay. Thanks, Travis. And then I guess the only other comment is I think with the mayor on the amount of impact fees coming in from all the big developers, having the option to defer them, it would be a pretty big interest-free loan for those folks. So that's all the comments I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Max. Any comments for Max? All right, Bobby. You're unmuted, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, fire away.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So first, I'll say thank you so much for creating.
Hey, Bobby.
One of the things.
Hey, Bobby.
Yes, sir.
Are you moving around?
Yep.
The sound is going in and out on your cell phone, sir. We can't hear you at all now, Bobby.
Oh boy. Can you hear me now?
Right there is perfect. Don't move.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Thank you much for having me. I'm in Arizona with my family on a pre-scheduled trip, so I apologize I couldn't be in person. I promise you, other than this, there's no place I'd rather be right now than there. Second statement I wanted to make is that, definitely wanted to get word out via social media. I got approached by the media as well, and, they put a story out, and
Are you there, Bobby? Bobby, you muted yourself.
Someone here can speak for him. He can speak for him. His partner's here.
Well, he can speak in a second. Bobby?
Okay, can you hear me now? Yeah,
you muted yourself. So, Bobby,
I can promise you.
Yeah, start right back up. So there was an article, and then
Yeah. So we had an article, and my main point here with that is just that a lot of the focus of that and a lot of the kind of comments coming from that were very divisive, and that's not who I am, and not the way that we want to approach these conversations, because it's really about how do we create a strategy that works best for the community, the city of Woodland, and for small businesses as a whole. So I want to preface everything with that comment. The next thing is that I provided at the last city council meeting, I provided the RCW of the city of Shoreline in Washington that previously they showed that small businesses, especially tap houses, wineries, and drinking establishments, that those were items that could be up for exemption for the city. Curious why that, where are we at on that, on what I brought to you guys last meeting?
Emily, are you familiar? Emily, I'll ask you to unmute. On Shoreline.
Yeah. So I took a look through Shoreline's code, and they've since overturned that, so it's no longer applicable. So I was not able to find what their authority is for establishing.
Have you reached out?
I'm sorry?
Have you reached out to their city attorney?
No, that was if
So this is where my frustration comes in, right? For me, as a person who's coming in, and part of what I, one of the things in the military that they've always taught me, just because it hasn't been done before, just because it's the way that we've been doing it, doesn't mean that that it can't be done, right? And so what I did was I provided you guys. And Zach Goldfinch is here, and he has their statute that shows that, yes, they provided for small businesses that do not have a drive-through exemptions. Now, one of the things that, so that's item number one, right? And I guess you guys could see that there'd be a little bit of frustration that I brought that precedence before, and we're only looking at Ridgefield, but hey, this has been done over a 9-year period. It's just that statute expired. There's no, because I've already called them, right? I've called them, I've talked to them, and they said that the specific reason that they had that statute, that exemption in there, was to build small business. Now, what I'm asking for, so that's item number one. Item number two, impact fees. So Mayor Deinhardt, when you said that that's used to repair roads, that's 100% incorrect. So I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. The impact fees are not there to repair roads, right? So it's not for, it is for the growth of infrastructure that has a direct impact on the building that I am building. Now, here's the thing, 503, that's a state road. Correct. The road that's coming in to mine is Gerhardt. Is Gary, excuse me. And there is no way to do, we don't want to do a left turn from 503 in, right? That would completely negatively impact traffic. So what we're really talking about is the infrastructure, either that sidewalk that goes in or the sidewalk that goes back out towards Old Lewis River Road. So we're not talking about changing the infrastructure. That's the most important thing. We're not talking about changing the infrastructure. We're not talking about repairing the infrastructure. We're really talking about sidewalks. If we're really talking about what type of infrastructure that those impact fees can be used for. And after 10 years, if there is, really quick, and after 10 years, if those impact fees, because you have to show where those specific impact fees go and how they impact the development that we create. And if they don't, I can request a refund on all impacts if those are paid. Go ahead.
If I misspoke, I apologize. But what I was referring to is, if you have, we can use those for matching dollars. So when we go out for grants and things, we can use impact fees to use our match instead of coming out of our general fund. So yes, I agree. I can't go just repave a existing road. So we're on the
Correct,
same
but
page
those
there, Bob.
funds, Mayor, those funds have to specifically benefit my my development.
And is that
That's state
correct?
statute, and if they don't, and that's 100% correct. And if they don't, I get a refund on those after 10 years on any funds that have not been used to positively impact the growth and development of the infrastructure for my property. I am very, very well versed in all of this, guys. So I've given you a statute that shows how an exemption. By the way, the impact fees, I'm not taking any money out of anyone's pockets. That's the first thing. So if we look at all of the growth that is coming in, right? If we look at the growth that is coming in, if we say, hey, you're going to give me an exemption, and that exemption of $255,000. So it wasn't 30. By the way, it's not 30 trips. The total amount is 36 trips. Total of $255,000. So let's make sure that we're 100% correct on what those dollar amounts are, what those trips are, right? So that amount is $255,000 on 36 trips.
Hold on a second. Travis, is it $255,000?
When you consider the tap house and the
Correct. When he does
food
all
carts.
three at the
Yep.
same time, but the permits and everything he's talked about so far has not been all three at
I
once.
have a question though, Rubicon.
Correct. Yep.
I'm just curious, how come, if it's only affecting Gorg and not anything to do with 503, how come it's so high if it's only, you can't turn off of 503, you can only turn off of Gorg into that lot. So you only have, it's one way in and one way out.
So it's all interconnected though, because eventually you're going to get to either 503, exit 21, or exit 22. So as long as he is generating a trip that goes through some of our capital improvement projects, that's the nexus for the impact fee.
But who's to say that?
Correct. And hasn't there already been hasn't there already been part of your guys' 6-year infrastructure plan to build up those throwaways, and that you already have those tax dollars associated?
So there has been stuff like, for example, the Gun Club Road project that's currently going on. That is on the tip, and so we could use money for, I believe we're using TIF money for sidewalks, because there were no sidewalks there before. Then we're also using water money and sewer money, and Riley might be able to correct me on that.
So really, we're talking about sidewalks for the $255,000. I mean, if we're really talking like realistic, if we're talking realistic, isn't that really what if we're talking, nuts and bolts here, we're talking sidewalks. And also, I really want to get back to the point of the city of Shoreline. A precedence has been set already on a city that has done this.
So, hey,
they have not
Bobby,
been sued.
Bobby, we will take the action item. Your 5 minutes is up. We will take the action item of looking at Shoreline and see what they say. Emily will reach out to their attorney. And in the meantime, Riley was going to respond to your last question here when you said it's about sidewalks.
Thank you.
That is one of the major focus points. When you put in a facility that draws in the public, it needs proper sidewalks to go to and from. Since you are located off of 503, that would be our general target area, is to extend sidewalks.
Any other questions or comments here? We will take the action item from him and go talk to Shoreline. Emily will work on that piece. Anyone from Mr. Simpson?
You all know me. I'm David Simpson. I've done building projects here in town, and I've paid my impact fees. I've done half-street improvements. I like to see everybody be treated the same, especially when it comes to the half-street improvements. And I will say, we have a lot of, and I hear it in Planning Commission, a lot of theme about being friendly to small business and taking care of small business. best thing you can do to take care of our small businesses is fix the traffic. We have people that don't stop and purchase things in Woodland because they've already got a half-hour wait to get out of town. So there's already people losing business till we get exit 21 fixed and we get things moving better and people have the time. I really kind of tired of having people from the outside come here and especially get on social media and tell us how to do our business. If you sold a product, you had a business and you sold a product, and somebody came to you and said, I need your product, I have to have your product, but I don't have any money. So I want you to change your business model so that I can have your product, then I don't know, I would go tell them to go pound sand, you know, quite honestly. Or you give me your product, but you have your next 100 customers pay for it. I'm not really a big fan of that either. My understanding is if we give somebody a pass on this impact fee, it's going to come out of the general fund. So that's my money, right? Furthermore, if we do a deferral, we're going to become the bank of Woodland Savings and Loan. We're going to loan people money. If we do that, we've got to have first position on the note for that lien, which might, especially with SBA loan, take that opportunity away. No bank's going to want to be second position to the city over impact fees. We just pay our impact fees. And furthermore, we've had that discussion today. Everybody in this city, all our blessed employees are wearing two hats. Somebody's going to have to put on another hat to monitor that and take care of that. And my feelings are an already overwhelmed office. So those are the things I have to say. I'm not for changing it. We go borrow the money. If we've got a viable project, we can borrow the money and we can build it and make payments on our impact fees like everybody else. So otherwise, I'm looking forward to the refund if you guys change your minds. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Simpson.
But essentially then we're just saying unless you have a ton of money and you're loaded in a huge corporation, you don't have a chance of ever opening a business in town.
I think that's what's so tricky is that, you know, as a small business owner myself, I understand what it's like to have a dream and want to do something, and my heart goes out to him, and I get it. I also get what Mr. Simpson is saying as well, because immediately it's like we can try and be creative and try and figure out a way to make this work, but it's not fair to others. It's just not. And then to pull it from our general fund is, I mean, we only have so much, and we have so much we have to do with that general fund. So it's really tricky. And
just go find an existing building and then eliminate all
that's the thing. The impact fees things, I mean, if you think the name, it's impact, how it's going to impact traffic by building something new. You know, I would love to have a drive-through for mine, and I don't have the money to do the impact fees, so I'm not doing it right now. And it's just, it's tough. It's really tough. And, you know, he mentioned social media, and I'm on social media, and I welcome people talking to me on there. Everyone has an opinion, and I think that they don't think deeply about, you know, it's easy to say, oh, let him, or you're hating on small business. It's not the case. There's a lot of things that go into this, and we have to be thoughtful about it, and we have to be fair. And it doesn't mean that we don't want Bobby to succeed, or we don't want Bobby to have his business. But at the end of the day, we can't pass that on to the citizens. It's tough. It's really tough. And I would love to see that place open up. I wish I knew an answer right now, and I feel like that's why these workshops are important, so we can talk about these things and ask our city staff what we can do, and have Emily here. And it's just, and Todd did say we could get creative about it, and I feel like that's what we're trying to do. But, you know, I don't know. This feels like an ongoing thing. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm sorry, Bobby. It's tough. I wish I had an answer for you.
No, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. We're all living in this community together, and that's why, if you notice, we will have workshops on our agendas regularly. Community members need to have a voice. They need to be able to come in. It's easy for you to sit on social media, and not you, I'm saying.
Right. No.
To sit on social media, it's the same people Same, you know what I mean? But again, we want our community to all thrive together, and these are tough decisions. But like Mr. Simpson said there, and he's a business owner, he's paid his impact fees, and he's already said, okay, I'll come looking for my refund here.
Yeah.
And you know, there we have other tap houses here. Are they going to come and say, well, wait a minute here, you've now created competition for me? And so, you know, and I bring up the old Public Works building that we sold in downtown Woodland. That was the reason we were able to sell it as quickly as we were, and for the price that we were, is because it had impact fees already built into it in those trips. And so they could remodel and they can go do their business. And I agree, it's a tough nugget here that as a community we're gonna have to, you know, work together on. So, any other comments or questions from the community? City Council?
I was gonna say make a motion in the meeting, but.
Okay.
We have action items.
All right, with
Oh, we did.
nothing there, the time is now 8:55, and we will go into our action items. Action item G, approve vouchers for March 2026 first half.
Motion to approve action item G.
Second.
Any questions from the community or city council regarding any of our vouchers and payments for the month? I have a first from Mr. Houston and a second from Mr. Burke.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Houston,
Aye.
Councilmember Friend,
Aye.
Councilmember Michelson.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving into action item H, authorize the allowance of additional cannabis retail license density inside the city of Woodland.
Motion to authorize the allowance of 0 additional cannabis retail license density in the city of Woodland.
Second.
So, hold on here, council. We don't get to say 0. For right now, the action item is, are you wanting to approve any?
No.
So, if
Oh,
you want to
okay.
approve 1, 2, 25, or 30, you would authorize the mayor to.
So
have
then
it
if we do not want to
no.
approve any, we just don't say anything
No, you
and
say
let it
no.
just drop?
Correct.
Okay. We don't need it in writing that we're approving 0?
You could approve it to,
Should make a motion to deny.
motion to deny.
I make a motion to deny action item H.
For additional, okay.
Hey, Emily.
Yeah.
So, if they make no motions here, this action dies, but they're wanting to, again, I don't want to speak for them, but I think what I'm hearing is they want to make it so the number is 0. So,
For now.
A 0 above what you're currently
Yes.
allotted.
they want it to be no additional.
So it would be motion to deny allowance of additional cannabis retail, right?
Yeah, I think that would be the cleanest way. That way, if, as Travis pointed out, there's any sort of change in state law that comes about, like, it would be a lot cleaner for us to deny it and then get an ordinance before the council to clarify what your process is there.
So I have a motion from Mr. Friend that says,
Motion to deny action item H.
and I had a motion to make the number 0, but I have to have a second on.
I seconded Jason's.
So hold on here a second. So we have to clear out the first.
So
are
I
you
remove my motion.
So you're making a motion to deny action item H?
Correct, which would not allow the authorization of any additional cannabis retail.
So are you wanting this to go to 0? So you're making a motion to not authorize any additional.
Correct.
So we have a motion for Mr. Friend to authorize no additional cannabis retail license is inside the city of Woodland.
And I second.
Does that need a different write-up then?
Emily?
A different write-up than.
Because this is actually asking for it to allow additional cannabis.
Right, and that's why I said.
He's making a motion, that's why he's making a
Well,
motion.
I made a motion to deny, and so instead of I make a motion to approve, I'm saying I make a motion to deny action item H. Which I
But
think
is that
accomplishing
still-
the same thing? That's what Emily
Yeah.
Okay.
But if we would have all just voted no on this, it would have done the same thing.
You can also
No, because
just let it die,
Let it
and
die.
then it wouldn't be
They
authorized.
wanna let
But
it- Emily, they want to let it die, but then have it in
On record.
on
Then-
record that there is no additional to be allowed inside the city.
yeah, then I think the motion to deny this action item would provide that written verification.
Because it says to authorize the allowance. So you're saying making a motion to deny this would
Well,
then put it in there.
So
All right,
can
so
I-
I hear a motion that says to deny the allowance of additional cannabis retail density.
Yes.
And a second.
So, I just have a question. If we did approve it as an allowance of additional cannabis, and then our next meeting we actually put in writing 0, would that not hold up better than just a denial of it?
No, what she's saying here is this is putting it in writing.
Yeah.
This is right.
We don't
Okay.
want any more.
Okay. So I have a
Okay.
motion from Mr. Friend to deny the motion, or to deny the authorization of additional cannabis retail license density inside the city of Woodland. And I have a second from Mr. Houston. Any conversation from community, anyone online, from city council on that motion? So with a yay, you are saying you deny the allowance of additional.
Yeah.
Ms. Hogan?
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Houston,
Aye.
Councilmember Friend,
Aye.
Councilmember Michelson.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Motion to end meeting.
I have a motion to move it. The time is now 9:01. Have a great evening, everyone.